Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back to it. I have been missing for a couple of days because I've been lifing. Life has been lifing. That's all I can say. I hope you're all good. We are here to talk about Love is Blind season 4 After the Altar, and we are now on the next episode, which is episode 15. Before we get into it, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I am back on and doing videos. But now let's talk about all that is episode 15. So now we start off with Marshall, and he's bringing his girlfriend Chai that he's been with for about a year. I don't know if it's fully been a year that he would have been with Chai with, actually, because he was with Jackie at first, then they left the experiment. Then he was with, I can't remember the girl's name. I think it was Kashaya. I think her name was Kashaya, but anybody can correct me if I am wrong. Then he was with Kashaya. They went on one date. That was about it before he said he couldn't do it any further. And then after time went on is when he met Chai, but he's saying that he's been with her for a year and he's glad that he's met her. And he's basically all in with this girl because apparently she accepts him for who he is, which is what he wanted at the end of the day. And Brett was just like very just like really happy for him, like really happy for him. And because they all went, I think they went on a double date. Yeah, they went on a double date. Brett and Tiffany and Marshall and Chai went on a double date just to catch up, shoot the breeze, you know, as you do with your friends. And they've remained friends after the show as well. So it went pretty well. But my only thing is that I have to say, my pet peeve with Marshall is the fact that yes, he's found this girl, but my thing is why is he so focused, more so hyper focused on Jackie, and whether Jackie and Josh is coming to these little football playoffs that they've all put together. I think it could be the case that he wants to be able to prepare himself if she is going to turn up. Brett isn't too sure if they will turn up, but we all know it's camera time. It's camera time. Of course they're going to turn up. We knew they were going to turn up. And I think Marshall just wanted to be prepared for the fact that he would be seeing Jackie full force again in front of his face. But this time, not on her own. She would have Josh with her and how that would play out as well. But all I would say is he just needed to go with the flow, because at the end of the day, he's found someone for him. He's found the one that could be his person for him. So he didn't need to pay Jackie no mind at the end of the day. He should have just let it slide. So now, and then it moves on to Micah and Shelby, basically. They've met up. They've gone for a little lunch date. Still can't stand Shelby. Still don't like her. And I think she's happy with the fact that, you know, Micah didn't get what she wanted. And they met up with Irina, of course. I don't know. I know Irina was part of the show, per se. She was part of the show in that sense, and she did what she did. Like, she was a proper mean girl. Her and Micah were proper mean girls through that show when they were together, bloody frickin' frack together. And then Irina left and did what she did to Zach at the end of the day, opened the door wide open for Bliss and Zach to have their happy ever after. My thing is why is she coming on the show too? Why is she coming on the show too? Because she didn't necessarily make a couple with someone. And this is what I mean by the decisions that the producers make in regards to this show and getting people on the show itself. It's going to be about the ratings. It's going to be about getting the views in, and it's going to be seeing if anything will pop off between any of these people at the end of the day. Because to me, Irina is not relevant in the slightest. Neither Shelby, so I don't really understand why Shelby's there as well. I suppose Michael wanted some friendships there, and you know, those are her closest friends, because at the end of the day, she ain't got Paul. So yeah, I just didn't think Irina was relevant to this series at all. So basically, Irina's talking about how she felt over the past year, and basically she isn't into dating nobody at the moment. She wants to be on her own to basically get to a good and healthy place of healing. And I'm like, it's been a year and you've still not worked on yourself already. If you've still not worked on yourself already and it's been a year to get you to at least a partway semblance to a place of being healthy and healing in terms of your mindset and what you think you're going to be offering somebody else and what you're expecting back if you were to re-enter into relationship, then what have you been doing? I'll be saying, what have you been doing? You've obviously not been doing the groundwork. Like, as they say, the shadow work, you've obviously not been doing it. And if you have been doing some of it, then you're definitely not putting it into practice. If it's taken you a year to at least decide to the point that you don't want to date nobody else. My thinking is, and I know this is going to sound petty as hell, but my thinking is that people saw how Irina behaved in that show and then decided that they wanted nothing to do with her afterwards. So now she is having to reinvent herself. That's how I'm seeing it, but you lot can let me know how you see it. And then of course the topic of discussion moves to Paul, because Micah is still peeved in the sense of what Paul's mum had told her in regards to him seeing someone else. But the only reason I think Micah's mum threw that into the works is just so that I think so she could get Micah to literally work that little bit harder in order to get Paul, because I think Paul's mum wants to see Micah and Paul work out, to be fair. That's what I'm thinking at the end of the day. So Micah's basically saying that she doesn't want really anything to do with Paul at the end of the day. She doesn't want to continue talking to him, or she doesn't want to continue dating him, because at the end of the day she's thinking, why are you still speaking to me when you know that you've got somebody else? And I'm kind of like, at the end of the day, used to have been through this experience. As I explained in my previous video, they've been through this experience together. So sometimes shit happens and then you end up being friends with a person. I don't think you should necessarily look more into it than that unless you've had the talk. Doesn't seem like Micah and Paul has had any type of talk after the whole situation has happened. So they continue to speak to each other. Micah allowed him to speak to her in that sense, and Micah's taken it as he's keeping the door open for her. He hasn't expressly said that he's keeping the door open for her, but that is how she's taken it. Now, he can't help how she feels in that respect, but then at the end of the day, Paul should be clear in what it is that he does want and what it is that he doesn't want, so then Micah isn't left dangling on a piece of string. And then we see Jackie and Cashier meet up. We know what happened between Jackie and Marshall, and then we kind of know what happened between Cashier and Marshall, because Cashier reached out to Marshall via text and basically told him that they were thinking of them, and she discussed that with Jackie. Like, she's stating that she wasn't going behind Jackie's back, she just wanted to give him some moral support in that way. And then that's how them two began talking via text. They only had one date, mind you. They only had one date before Marshall decided to shut things off because he was not ready to move on, or in that headspace to move on from the Jackie situation at that moment in time. Now, I don't get where it then comes off, where they start like kind of slagging Marshall off. That's how I'm going to put it. Kind of slagging Marshall off in the fact that, you know, when Jackie says, well, I had him blocked, and Cashier then says, well, I blocked him after he started messaging me and apologizing and saying X, Y, and Z, and then turning around and saying, why did he bring me up in the bring up my name in the reunion? And at the end of the day, Marshall did not bring Cashier up at all. He didn't bring her up. It was Jackie that brought her up, because it was Jackie sitting with cauliflower ear Josh that was basically giving misinformation to Vanessa at the end of the day. Is it Vanessa? Vanessa Lachey? Yeah. See, irrelevant to me. That's why I forget her name. But yeah, giving misinformation to Vanessa. And it was Marshall that then had to be on the back foot to explain exactly what Jackie meant by what she was saying. Now, my thing is if this is how you feel about Marshall, this is Jackie included, then why the hell are you going? Why the hell are you going to this little reunion thing? Why are you there? Why do you need to go? Why do you really need to go? Because is it just for some screen time? Is it just to get some drama out of it? What is it for? Because at the end of the day, to me, you're not all that relevant in that sense. And that's how I'm looking at it in that regard. You're not all that relevant. Amber speaking to Bliss, because Amber is still good friends with Bliss. And they were good friends from within the pod, because if you remember, Arena did the fuck shit that she did by going over and listening to Amber talking to Bliss and being upset in regards to Paul when Paul let her down in order to go for Micah, because Micah played her game. Micah played her game but didn't get the prize at the end of the day. Let's just put it that way. Now, Amber's quite happy. She's met somebody else and they are looking to move in together. And basically, she was saying she don't have no more issues with Paul in the slightest. But every time that they've been in the same room, Paul just veers away from her and it's kind of awkward. So hopefully through this interaction, they'll be able to have that conversation and close things down properly and succinctly. But we shall see how that goes. So then it kind of moves on to Chelsea and Kwame going to Chelsea's, because it is, of course, Chelsea's birthday week. And they're going to have all of this happen and even an after party type get together on Chelsea's birthday. Now, if you have watched the show, you remembered what happened last time at Chelsea's little get together between Josh, Marshall and Jackie. You should all remember that situation that happened there. And of course it was at Chelsea's birthday get together. So it seems to be that the drama is just going to be created on Chelsea's little birthday get-togethers. But anyway, so Chelsea and Kwame go to Chelsea's parents. Kwame's sister and her brother came, and his brother came, I should say. Now, during the dinner, Chelsea piped up and asked Kwame, because they were talking about jollof rice and the fact that Chelsea had managed to make jollof rice and she thought it was tasty and the sister definitely wanted to taste that. So then she brought up to the table and said to Kwame, why don't you tell the story of how you came to taste jollof rice for the first time? Now, if you had watched it, the story that Kwame goes in to tell is quite traumatizing in terms of the fact that the first time he tasted jollof rice was the first time he met his mom at the end of the day, because they came to America and I think they got separated in some kind of way. Now, from when the camera panned to Kwame's sister, Kwame's brother was quiet as a church mouse, but Kwame's sister didn't look like she liked the pattern of the conversation at all, but didn't really say anything. Now, my thing is, and you can let me know what you thought around that if you did watch it in regards to the story that Kwame told. My thing is this would have been a story that Chelsea would already have been aware of at the end of the day, because it's something that her and Kwame would have had those conversations over. So that would have been a moment between a husband and wife, and it's his family story. So I didn't understand why Chelsea would then ask Kwame to talk about the first time he tasted jollof rice, knowing full well what that story entailed to the rest of her family. So that bit I did not agree with in the slightest, because my thing is if I'm talking to you privately about my private family matters in regards to something that could re-traumatize me if I had to re-explain it to the rest of the family, then I would have that unspoken word, I suppose, that unspoken thing between us, telepathy or whatever you want to call it, right, to say, please don't bring this up anywhere else unless we've had a conversation prior to say, I'm okay with you bringing that up somewhere else. Now, we don't know if they had a conversation prior to that, but the way that his sister was looking, it did not seem as though they'd had a conversation prior to Chelsea bringing that up. You lot can let me know what you thought about that episode. So then we see Jackie and Josh, and they have now got a place together. And straight away, I would say the bullshit starts with Josh. Like, you know, him setting down his rules and regulations and how kind of like seeing how things go, like telling her about how she needs to unpack everything and she is gonna go and do his bidding. You know what is my over pet peeve is when people are talking to you and they turn around and call themselves daddy. Why the fuck are you doing that? You ain't my dad. You're not my dad. Don't do that. That's gross. Like, that is absolutely gross to see and hear. Keep that between you two. If that's how you two go on in your adventures, then keep that between you two. You didn't have to bring that shit to the screen, because I didn't want to hear Jackie calling you daddy or hearing you refer to yourself in the daddy sense. That is not the one. Not for me at all. But as again, you lot can let me know what you think about that. But I'm just kind of like, at the end of the day, Jack, this is the person, this is the man that Jackie picked. This is the man she's gonna stand beside, stand in front of, stand behind. This is the man that she picked for herself above Marshall. Okay, so it for her bed, she gonna lie in it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say on that at the end of the day. But Josh is already talking about the fact that he wants to take things slow and he doesn't see marriage at the moment. But didn't they both go on the show looking for marriage? Wasn't that what Love is Blind is all about? They went on that show looking for marriage. And didn't Josh kind of ask somebody else to marry him? But we will get to that. We will get to that. So then, as we come to the end of this episode, the ball game is about to start, and prior to the ball game starting, Zach is worried that someone will roughly tackle Bliss, but Bliss is trying to calm him down because he don't want no one to tackle her at the end of the day. But my thinking is it's like flag ball, so they literally have to try and rip the flags or the ribbons from their waistband rather than tackle them to the ground. So as we see the people start to arrive at the playing field, and then just at the end, basically, you see Jackie and Josh walking and Marshall is looking over, and it's awkward. To me, it looks awkward as hell, but I'm going to give no credence to the edits because the edits can fuck you over, and I found that out the hard way at the end of the day. But all I'm going to say is that they were saying they wanted to bring people together to squash this beef, and we'll see how far it goes. But as I say, my renegades, that is where I'm taking it for now. I will be back in quick succession with the next video. So as I say to you, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button and do whatever else it is you like to do. And I'll be back on your screens very soon. Blessings be and peace out.